This quick concept's going to be about what I'm calling awkward 5-2s, specifically in the opening. In most games of Dominion, you either have a 3-4-4-3 or a 5-2-2-5 opening, and of these, usually the 5-2 or 2-5 is going to be a bit better because the reality is that things that cost more tend to be better cards, and so if you have a 5-2, maybe you get to open that sentry, open that witch, and end up a little bit ahead because you're able to get this good card into your deck sooner than your opponent who has a 3-4. That said, sometimes that's not really the case. The 5-2 can be a little bit annoying. The most obvious case is maybe there isn't this good anything good at the 5 cost price point. So you don't want to be like spending 5 on something that's actively bad for your deck, clearly. But I think the more common case where it feels like an awkward 5-2 is when there are, pretty okay cards at 5. Maybe there's a smithy you need, there'd be a payload card that you want later, whatever. But there's something that looks a lot more essential at the 3 cost or 4 cost price point. Often that it's going to be a trasher, maybe it's a Masquerade, a Steward, a Remake, where this is something that you would really feel like, I need to open this to reach my pace goals, and I don't get to have a nice maybe silver with it because of this 2. I have to buy it on 5, and gosh, that kind of feels awkward. So what to do about these? I think it mostly just raises some questions that I've listed out here and we'll talk about. I think the first really is do I need to be hitting 5 coins again? Oftentimes, we talk about like a Steward Silver opening, and a Steward Silver opening, it's not like great at hitting 5, but it's okay. You can trash with a Steward and you have some hope on the other hand of, hitting 5, getting whatever thing, that looks pretty good. That's good. But if I have the 5-2 and I'm opening Steward on a 5-2, I'm probably opening Steward nothing, and this is complete, utter garbage at hitting 5 again. It could be a while before I do that. So, if there's something that I really would like at the 5 cost price point, that certainly becomes a little bit less appealing, right? I'm trying to match this Steward, and I'm going to be behind just because I'm not producing as much economy. Like it's going to take me more turns to get to the same place that my opponent is. So that's really no good if I need to be hitting 5 again. Another question is, if I open one of these, we'll call them middling 5 costs instead, how soon can I actually play this 3 or 4 cost? There's different 5 costs that we could be talking about. Just an example, one of these smithies that's, plus 3 cards. If I play it turn 3 or turn 4, I'm shuffling on turn 4. So, even if I don't open this 3 or 4 cost, there's a good chance that I get to play it, turn 4, turn 5, etc. Even if I'm not opening it. And so then it becomes a little bit more appealing, like, maybe I'm going to get this 5 cost smithy, because I can get this 3 or 4 anyways, probably play it in an appropriate amount of time, and then still be able to hit 5 because like this smithy is making it so that I can hit this 5 cost price point in addition to having that card. So it becomes a little bit more appealing, if this 5 cost that you're buying does a little bit of cycling, just so that you can have that shuffle a bit earlier and play the 3 or 4 cost, even if you're not opening it. And then the last question is, what will my opponent do with their 3-4? And I'm putting this here. It's kind of we'll call it a little bit of a cynical take, which is that if you look at what your opponent's going to do on the 3-4 and it looks like, you consider it, and on their 3 cost hand, they're probably going to buy a 2 cost card. Probably you should just match that, right? Like, if you're uncertain, the worst thing you can do is become behind for a decision that you're uncertain about. So like, if my opponent's going to go 2-4 on this, probably I can go 2-4 on it too, and whatever happens. I'm not gonna risk putting the 5 cost out there, where I can lose with it. So that's kind of a cynical take, but all these things, it's like, if I have some really essential card at 3 or 4, yeah, I'm gonna need it, but Maybe we can get it a bit later. Maybe we can play it. If we can't, then yeah, probably we do need to be opening with that 3 or 4 cost. Something like Masquerade, you have a decent shot at hitting 5 pretty early, even if you open Masquerade. So, yeah, I'll open Masquerade, nothing. Steward, nothing, a little bit of a harder sell. Gainer, nothing, a little bit of a harder sell. But, all of these things contribute, and the goal is basically just don't get behind. Let's make sure that I'm playing the cards I need to play, and if it means opening not 5, then it means opening not 5. If I can squeeze a 5 in, yeah, probably I'm going to do that instead.